You're so official.
It is official in here, isn't it? It's pretty cool. All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to SNSN. I hope everybody had a great and wonderful Father's Day weekend. It is over. Ha! And what's next? July 4th.
4th of July.
Yeah.
That's next.
July 4th. That is next.
It's not that far away.
It's not that far away.
No.
It's no.
3 weeks?
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you know the origin of Father's Day?
No.
No. Started in Seattle. No, Spokane. Sorry. It was a lady who her father was, and this is 1909.
Oh.
I just read this yesterday. And her father was a Civil War vet.
Civil War. It makes sense.
And he died and he couldn't, she could never saw him again.
Yeah.
So she, on Mother's Day of that year, she decided, I'm going to put something together for fathers. And she went to different churches. She went to the YMCA, which was a big deal back then. Politicians, every organization she could think of. And in 1910 was the very first Father's Day, but it was only recognized in Spokane or the state of Washington.
Yeah.
And then it spread out from there.
Oh, that's cool.
How you like that?
That's good.
What do you know about that, Zuzu?
Yeah.
So Mother's Day came first then.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. Doesn't it always? So it's funny because Mother's Day, I saw a picture. It said Mother's Day, right? And it shows like dinner on a pier. It's beautiful. Wine glasses, steaks, lobster. Huh?
I saw the same.
Yeah, I posted it, right? It says Father's Day. It was a TV dinner. It's true. What'd you have for Father's Day dinner?
Steak.
Oh, okay. Brian?
Yeah.
We had burgers.
You had burgers?
Yeah, that's
Good burgers.
Screw you. I had ziti, man. We had ziti with actual sauce
Oh.
Nice.
from a
There's
can,
nothing wrong with that.
from a jar. No, not at all. Not at all.
No.
All right. So today, let's get moving. We have a gentleman that usually we have on virtually. And he's a guy that I used to work with for a while. How many years did we actually work together? Just a few, maybe.
Probably 4.
4 years? Yeah.
I guess.
We were with
Yeah, probably about
Verizon.
4.
And he one day decided to just
On the road again.
sell everything, and him and his wife Courtney and his 13 boys.
4 boys.
Four.
Might as well be 13.
Myself. They hit the road and didn't look back.
Yeah.
So, but now you're here really just visiting because this is like your loop right now, right? Part of your loop.
Well, visiting. Yeah, we're here for 2 months.
Yep.
Decided we have some maintenance things we need to get done on the RV, and
That's what I was kind of thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's tough to do that when you're always moving, and then a lot of campgrounds don't like you to do work on RVs. So
Yeah.
we're
So, are
lucky
you
to-
actually living in a house now?
No, we're in
No,
the
it's still
we're
in
in
the
the
trailer.
yeah. We're in
Oh.
the RV with in my in-laws' yard,
Yeah.
and we have obviously full access to the house. So,
Sure.
We
Yeah.
can spread out and make dinners in there. It's using a full kitchen is. You guys are spoiled.
Oh, hear that? You guys, says the former homeowner. Yeah. So, you're back here for a couple of months.
Yep.
And is it weird, actually, like house? Like, I know you're not living in the house. You're still sleeping in the trailer outside the in-laws' house. But does it seem strange to you?
The actual house isn't strange. You know what? The hardest part is adjusting to not moving. Like, we get bored in an area now very quickly. And so to be stationary for more than a week, well, really 2 weeks, we start to get stir crazy.
Yeah.
And we're at that 2 week mark right now. We've been in Connecticut for about 2 weeks. And it's one of those things where our minds are now programmed to just be looking to the next destination and start planning things. And not having to do that for 2 months is strange. But having access to the house, we kind of take it for granted. Like, oftentimes I'll forget we even have it, and I'll be, in the RV doing dishes. I'm like, wait, it's way easier to do these in the deep sink in the house, and I'll just bring them over there. Or like forecasted to be hot this coming week, and we're dreading it. And I'm like, wait, we can relax in the AC in the house.
In the house,
we don't need to be in the RV.
Yeah, because there's a little bit of a heat wave coming. So.
Yeah, we're not going to get it as bad though.
No,
it's mostly
93
Hartford,
here,
mostly Hartford and Talbot counties.
Yeah, they're saying parts of Connecticut's going to hit triple digits.
100 degrees. Yeah.
Yeah. So just to refresh, how long have you been? You sold everything.
Yep.
You and Courtney just decided to we're just going to go.
Yep.
And which is really what happened. And how long have you been on the road now?
It'll be 4 years this September.
Now,
Wow.
The thing was, is you said 2.
Yeah.
And then what happened at 2 years?
We just loved it. Honestly, even at this point, it's hard for us to even imagine settling down in one location. We've talked about different end plans, whether we just keep doing this or basically have an apartment in one state, an apartment in another state, or plant the RVs in one state and have an apartment in another, so we can kind of get that nomad fix. But yeah, we don't have an end in sight. We're more seriously investigating. I've told you this in the past, but our next hopeful plan is to move onto a boat and travel that way for a bit.
Gotcha.
But yeah, it's been awesome.
That sounds like be a little more dangerous than traveling in a trailer.
Yeah.
So there's different ways to do it. We're gonna just hug the coast, the East Coast, up and
There's
down.
a group, right?
There's a group.
Yeah.
The big one that a lot of people do is called the Great Loop, and they basically start in the Keys and in January, February timeframe, go up the East Coast, shoot over into the Great Lakes, then down the Mississippi, and back up in the Keys. Yeah. We're not going to do that. I think we're just going to stick to the East Coast.
Yeah. How big a boat?
We're looking at about a 50-footer.
That's a good size boat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the kids are excited because we've been watching YouTube videos on boat tours and stuff like that, and the amount of space these boats have, it's like quadruple our fee.
Yeah.
Have you picked out a boat or
no? We've fallen in love with Hatteras 50s and Chris Craft. I think it's Chris Craft Constellation 50s, but we haven't picked one out yet.
Now will that fit you and all your boys and your wife?
Oh yeah, it's more space than what we have.
Really,
significantly more. Yeah.
Okay, and how many square feet do you have now?
330.
So. They're going to go to 331.
which is a lot more than a tiny house.
Yeah.
Tiny houses start at 96 square feet.
Yeah.
That's tiny. I couldn't live in that small of a space.
So now you're going to have to go get trained how to use a boat.
Yeah. So that's kind of the first step we're going to do is take some sort of course. There's week-long courses, month-long courses where you actually live aboard and learn the ins and outs. And
because I get Coast Guard puts them on.
Yep.
Yeah.
And in that size, I believe, maybe I'm mistaken, but my initial research shows anything over 40 feet, insurance companies won't insure you unless you go through a certified course like that. So it's definitely going to be a requirement.
It's the smartest thing to do anyway. Yeah.
Are there, out of the 4 boys that you have, are there any of them that are like, Or are there, I mean, what's the scale?
On the boat thing or the
RV thing? Just the traveling, going back and
they're
forth.
all full in still. Tegan he's getting older. He's
the oldest.
He just turned 12. So the only thing he's craving is a desktop computer. I mean, that's his biggest thing is he's a techie and he's big into computers, coding and all that. And
really,
he has a laptop, but he wants a desktop computer, and that's the only driving factor I think for him to say that he would want more space or more practical way to have that. But other than that, they're all still in. And
And how old are the others again?
Tegan's 12, Barrett's 9. You're quizzing me. Lincoln's 6, and Remy's 4. So Remy was born and
on the road.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't know a house at all. So
that's interesting. Does he have conversations with Tegan about, back in the day, Remy, we used to have a bathroom.
Sometimes some of that comes up, but he loves that. I mean, we're usually parked right next to a playground, and I mean, he's still little, so he gets so excited when he sees a new playground. Or we always tell him like we have amenities that we wouldn't have in a house, so he's spoiled. But
I'm just thinking to myself, I never thought about your youngest actually being born while you were on the road.
Yep. During COVID too.
Yeah.
So he doesn't know.
He doesn't know anything different. He doesn't know anything different. So that is way cool. That is way cool. Anybody that is here watching, we would appreciate it if you would share this, if you could. Facebook's putting the kibosh on a lot of things, and we can't even share it we can't even broadcast it into my own group. So, like Grizzled News and Notes, can't even. I've shared it to there, but it's not the same. People have to actually go there. It's bullshit if you ask me.
It's unfortunate because a lot of people,
they just won't know. But then again, they'll just say, "I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know it happened."
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
So we would appreciate it if you could share it, on your on yours. And anyway, so we'll be back, and I'm going to take a quick break, and we'll be back more with Brian Culpin and talking about his travels all over North America in a minute, right here on SNSN.
Better with Burns.
Much better.
So much better with Burns. The right insurance at the right price. You buy better with Burns.
You buy better at Burns. You buy better.
The Burns Agency is a full-service organization with insurance products ranging from business owner policy needs to personal insurance like home, auto, and umbrella. Some companies can make that a one-stop shop. That's why we value partnering with insurance companies like Arbella Insurance. Like us, they offer a range of insurance coverage for our valued clients. Having your most valuable assets covered by a single insurance carrier, serviced by a local agent, is priceless. The Burns Agency proudly partners with Arbella to bring you insurance coverage at competitive pricing. The Burns Agency, proudly serving Eastern Connecticut since 1932.
Buy better.
Better with Burns.
Much better.
So much better with Burns. The right insurance at the right price. You buy better with Burns.
You buy better at Burns. You buy better.
Has arrived. They're your local auto super center. Put some excitement in your day and rent a Polaris Slingshot from Strain Family Motors, adjacent to the Green Onion Restaurant on River Road. Check out Strain Family Motors Super Center on Facebook as well as strainfamilymotors.com for everything sales, service, and excitement. River Road, Lisbon, Strain Family Motors, your local auto super center.
City Savings Bank's commitment to helping local businesses fuel growth was recognized by the Small Business Administration and readers of the Commercial Record. We invite you to put our winning commercial lending team to work for your business. Because when local businesses succeed, we all win. To learn more, visit jcsbank.com. Jewett City Savings Bank. Member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
it's tough to get stuff up there, and it's just tough.
All right, we're back, everybody. We're talking to Brian Culpin, world traveler, who's from this state originally, and then decided 4 years ago to pack up his family and move to Beverly Hills. That is. No, just all over North America. First, it was around the country, but then you incorporated Mexico and Canada.
Yep.
And now you're talking about an Alaskan cruise.
Yep.
So this is, this is quite a trek. I've asked this before, but there are other people that don't know the answer to this, and I still, I get it, but I don't. Just how do you support it?
Yeah. So COVID definitely made it easier. My wife's job, she went fully remote during COVID, and she still works for the same company that she did when she left. She's in finance. I work for an RVing community, so I make events and host events for them. And everything we do is fully remote. And my wife's a bookkeeper, so and I help her with that too. We're both certified for that now. So that's how we fully support it. It's honestly, compared to living in a house, I would say it's a little cheaper. So it is attainable for anybody as long as you have a
Well, how many
some
square
means.
feet was your house?
1,700.
Okay, so So how you go from 1,700 to 330, and of course you would think it would be more inexpensive, but
Yeah.
you also go to places during the part of the year where it's like when it's colder here, you're in warmer climates somewhere else. So that's interesting. I think that's a really good part because the older I get, the warmer I like it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, we follow the warm weather, and even to a degree, if we look at a forecast and it's going to be raining for a week where we're at, we'll just move. It's like we'll avoid that. So we're blessed that we're able to do that for sure.
I mean, you're avoiding oil bills,
yeah,
gas bills.
Yeah.
I mean, gas inside the house. You're avoiding fuel, oil.
Yep.
Electricity.
Yep.
Yep.
Normal wear and tear on a house if something breaks down. Though you do have some problems with you may have problems with your trailer.
Yep.
Well, but I mean, even taxes. They can get taxes.
yeah. How does that work?
So we're residents of South Dakota. They're one of the tax-friendly states. And they happen to be the easiest to become a resident. All you have to do is stay one night. You could stay one night in a hotel. You can stay one night in a campground, and then you can go to the DMV and become a resident. So
After one day.
After one day. Yeah. So we had a company, it's called America's Mailbox. They handle our mail, but they also help with residency. And so we worked with them, and it was seamless. So yeah, with South Dakota, we don't have income tax. Obviously, we don't have property tax. They don't have, I guess that's not obvious. We don't have property tax either.
Right.
Registration, I think, is a little bit more expensive. So that's a bill that we have. I think it's around $400 every year.
Peanuts.
Yeah. So
all your vehicles are registered in South Dakota.
Yeah. Typically, travelers, they'll pick South Dakota, Florida. Florida, you have the issue with higher insurance. Car insurance is much higher than most of the country, actually.
Because of floods.
Yeah.
Storms.
Texas, and those are the three big ones.
Yeah. That's cool. I mean, so you can see where it could save you money by doing it that way.
Sure.
Yeah,
Sure.
I mean, and it can get you in trouble too, because so many people that we know, they get off the road after 6 months because they're like, this isn't cheaper, but it's because they live like they're on a vacation. So you're in a new area, you want to try out a new restaurant.
That's a really good point.
Yeah,
that's a really good point.
I think most people that, I don't want to say fail, but end up deciding that it's not for them, it's because they live that way.
Gotcha.
You rack up restaurant bills or entertainment bills quickly if you live like that.
Sure.
So.
Yeah.
And,
So,
but with today's technology and being able to work on the road like that is much better. 10 years ago, you couldn't do that,
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. And then even a lot of people to help supplement, they'll keep their house if they own it, of course, and rent it out. If you're in an area that you can Airbnb, that's even better. So,
sure. Yeah. That's a good point. Yeah. Wow.
I just had a question in my head that I wanted to ask you. Crap. You have those moments?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's called senior moment.
God. All right, so entertainment and stuff like that. What do when you traveling around, and what do you do? Do you stay mainly 30 days at least, or
normally it's a week to 2 weeks,
and then you pick up and move on to somewhere else? Okay.
It depends.
It depends, and like Mexico was a lot different, right?
Yeah, we were in the same spot for 30 days in Mexico. Actually, in La Paz, we were there for 2 months. So
yeah.
So it varies. Generally, it's 1 to 2. I'd say on average, our length of stay is probably 10 days.
Gotcha.
But we're focusing, and you like this. I don't know if I've ever talked about this, but we're mapping out all the MLB parks. So
you are. Yeah, you're going to Fenway.
Yep, we went to Fenway.
When?
Last week.
Did you?
They lost.
What surprise!
How
many stolen bases did they have last night?
9.
It was like
record.
It was a franchise record.
They exposed the Yankees too for all the Yankees fans. I mean, the Yankees have a decision to make with their catcher because he didn't even want to try to throw to second. He didn't even attempt it. I know he has a good bat, but he's a liability.
Wow.
And the few times he did throw to second base, he threw it into the outfield. So, but yeah, we're hitting all the major league parks. We've been to 18, I believe now. So, and we're doing. We did the Mets this year. We're skipping the Yankees. It pains me to even go there, but we're going to do Detroit, Minnesota this year too. So.
Yeah. How much work is actually involved? I'm not talking about the work you do as a day job, but to pick up and move and do all of that stuff, I'm sure it's not easy. You got to clean out the RV.
Yeah,
I would think you'd have it down to pretty much of a science right now.
Exactly. You get into a flow of things, and honestly, the first year, I'd say it was harder because we didn't really have it down. We didn't have the mindset to say like, we should do this to make moving days faster or easier. Yeah. And instead of like having that, we need to get rid of things. We went into this mode where we just made the RV easier to move. We secured things to walls, decluttered things that we knew would be, basically troublesome when we have to move. Yeah. But the overall process takes us about an hour to do it. So
that's not bad at all.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. I was just thinking that, if somebody was 65 or 70 years old, they want to do this, it might be a little harder on them versus somebody who's like 50 or 60.
So the drivable RVs, Class A's, which are the big bus looking ones, and then Class C's, which are the ones that have the bed over the cab if you see them driving down the road. Yeah. Those ones are significantly easier to set up and tear down. Yeah. And even, some fifth wheels, travel trailers, they have it too, but those ones, you park and you push a button and it levels for you. And really all you got to do is connect to your hoses and you're good to go. And even then, I know a lot of people that won't even connect that stuff because their tanks are so massive that you can go for a lot longer. Wow. So I would recommend to anybody that didn't want to do an extensive breakdown and tear down every time is to do a drivable.
Yeah.
What's been your favorite place? Has it been Mexico?
We love Baja. Actually, we also loved Canada. It's so hard to pick one place because they all have positives, right? Canada was just unbelievably beautiful. The national parks, we went to Banff and Jasper. They were just breathtaking. So to do that, and then of course the weather's cool and in the summer, and it was just fantastic. Baja, though, I think this particular spot, Mulegé, it's right on the beach. We parked. That the culture there is just unbelievable. We're not going back this year, unfortunately, but we're hoping if we're still in the RV, we'll go next year. And it's a great place.
Good.
A lot cheaper than Canada too. Canada was expensive. Yeah. It makes California look cheap. So
I heard the exchange rate is you got to be careful.
Yeah, you do. It was just overall. We go out to eat here. We have a big family, so it's amazing when we get out of a restaurant under $100. But in Canada, it was $200 up for us to go out to eat, even at a pizza restaurant. They're so expensive up there. So,
have you encountered any not so nice people? In your travels, or people that are, maybe try to take advantage because they think maybe you're just on the run.
No,
and don't know your story. And that kind of thing.
I'd say the most unpleasant people, and I think I've spoke on this before, are the people that live at the campgrounds full time. Sometimes they almost get this, and I don't want to sound judgmental.
They're cocky.
They
arrogant.
almost feel like they own all the amenities, and they get annoyed when they see families come in. And then there's also the older folks that they're doing what we're doing, but they almost get this like jealousy that we're doing it at a younger age.
Oh, okay, all right.
We get that quite often, more so in Florida. And in the wintertime in Florida, there's a lot of campgrounds you'll go to, and most of the families stick together. We're in a community, and we all park next to each other. And but if you go into the wrong campground that the clientele's used to an older crowd, you're not going to be welcomed. And they'll even try to tell you kids aren't allowed in the swimming pool, and it's like,
oh, that's BS.
Yeah, it's illegal to not allow kids in the swimming pool. So,
can I see your manager, please? Can I see the manager?
But that's the extent of the.
That's not bad. consider the environment in today's world.
Yeah.
The way how
Yeah.
people are. Yeah.
I would
That's not
say
bad.
now, but you're traveling with groups too, right? For the
Yeah.
most part, or
I wouldn't say for the most. I mean, a good part of the year we travel with one or two families. One particular family we had dinner with last night. They came over. They're not staying near us. They're actually staying in Cape Cod, but they, so close. They decided.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's only 3 hours from the house.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, 2 or so. But that's another thing about what we do is it's like nothing. That's nothing for us now. We'll drive a day trip is 2.5 hours. That's usually the cutoff that we'll do. But
So what do you do
funny.
with like, for example, I'm assuming that you grocery shop.
Oh yeah, yep.
Do you I mean, do you have a lot of space where you can put frozen goods, or
So we have 2 freezers, but they're both combined smaller than a residential freezer. So we have to be careful with that. I would say that's a one of the bigger challenges. Just when we're in an area, you're not familiar with the grocery stores, not familiar with the brands they carry. Walmarts are a savior for us because they're pretty consistent.
I was going to ask you, do you have like their service where they'll just deliver it to you?
A lot won't deliver to campgrounds, unfortunately.
They will.
Who?
Walmart.
Oh yeah.
And the reason I know
I
this,
signed up for that. Yeah.
Walmart Plus.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the only reason I know that is and they'll send it to hotels too. So we had them send it to Disney, a whole thing of whatever. And just yesterday, I had a bunch of groceries sent to my parents at Strawberry Park.
Yeah.
In Preston. So
And they'll do same day, right?
Yeah.
Same day. It's crazy.
yeah, and it's free as
How
long
do
as
you
you have
opt in
Walmart
for the
Plus.
drone though? I want the drone deliveries. Isn't that Walmart?
I don't know if that's Walmart. I think that's Amazon. Is it not?
I think they're both doing it.
Oh, I have yet to see the drone delivery.
I don't know if they do it around here.
I've seen the big drone. Actually, in Claremont, Florida, they have the big drone in their.
Yeah,
parking
probably
lot.
in the bigger cities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's called shipt.com. SHIPT.
Yeah.
Take the P out of there. It's shit.com. Delivery that fits your life. Drone delivery near me.
it's funny. But Utah was our hardest state.
hilarious.
We couldn't find a Walmart. I don't know if they're even operating in the state of Utah. And
Wow.
and the grocery stores were.
Well, they have DoorDash in Utah. That I know.
Is there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, the grocery stores were all like the IGA type, which aren't bad, but
Mhm.
you kind of get stuck, buying a particular brand, or I find them to be a little bit more expensive, but better quality meats. But
Where?
IGAs.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, the IGA is they're usually they're like privately owned.
Yeah.
But they just carry a lot of the IGA brand.
Yep.
Like Better Value down here in Lisbon. Well, it's still an IGA, I believe. Anyway, they have their own butchery. They have their own butcher there, and you can order stuff or whatever.
Right.
And their meats are good.
Yeah.
But everything else is like really expensive. It's
Yeah.
like an expensive. It's like a big convenience store,
Right.
It's kind of what it is because their prices are crazy. But
But we have all the memberships too: Costco, BJ's, Sam's Club. We have them all.
Yeah. I figured being out there in the wilderness, you could be going to shoot your own meat.
When we're on a boat, we'll be able to fish our own food.
so do you know someone named Chance?
Penland?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Says met Brian on the road. We are also a full-time RV family.
Yep.
Chance, where are you from originally? So, how tight, or should I say, how friendships, our friends have you made, in this 4-year journey?
We have.
Are they different than like when you just lived in a residential neighborhood?
For sure. So I'll touch on a couple things. So one, we met all walks of life, all different types of people, all different ages. I feel like when we're in a house, you gravitate towards people in your own age group.
Yeah. Sure.
And now we have young friends, we have older friends, their age doesn't matter. They're extremely diverse.
Well, I would think age does matter. You're not going to get little Maddie who's 7, going, hey, let's go to the store, Maddie.
Yeah.
That would be kind of.
But
The society, they think that way. I'm telling you.
Yeah. No, you're right.
They're
But
messed up.
yeah, I mean, we gravitate towards people that have kids too, preferably kids that are our
Sure,
kids'
sure.
age.
Well,
so,
obviously, yeah.
and that's usually the icebreaker. But our friend group now, I'd say we have the best friends we've ever had in our life.
Gotcha.
And they're friends that we'll have forever. So
I just asked Chance where he's from, but apparently he doesn't want anybody to know. So it's like crickets.
I don't remember where he's from. But
No,
I'll
that's
let him share anyways.
No. Do you have like some that are closer than others? Yeah. I would assume.
Yeah, the family that we had dinner with last night, they're good. We've traveled. I believe we were with them almost a year and a half. Maybe a couple breaks here and there, but we were with them a lot, and hope to do again. And then we have a couple other families. One actually is off the road. They're in Florida now, that we obviously care greatly about. And we spent probably a month at their house this past winter. So, yeah. So, yeah, our friend group it's tight, but it's great. And I'd say we have better relationships with our friends now than we ever did in a house.
Well, it's funny because I have friends, in different parts of the country, and it's like I could if you tell me where you're going, I generally don't ask you because you'll come on every couple of months, and it's like, no, don't tell me. I'll be texting him. I'll text Brian. He's like, you want to come on? Yeah, sure. And it's like, yeah, don't tell me where you are. I don't want to know. So, which is pretty good. But like, I have friends in just I can think of right now: North Carolina, South Carolina, Texas. Some of our best friends. There's a couple in Utah.
Nice.
Who, if you go through Utah, I wouldn't have any problem saying, hey, why don't you like hook up with Peggy and Dennis? They'll show you where to go or whatever.
We love it. We spent a lot of time in Utah. We love it. That's a beautiful state.
Did you know whereabouts in Utah did you go?
I mean, we did all the national parks. So, but we also did Salt Lake City.
Oh,
so,
sure.
I think we've been to a couple of them. Actually, all of them except for Zion, we've been to at least twice. And
I know they're in southern Utah.
Okay. Maybe the line of the national parks is kind of southern, so they maybe near them.
Cedar City. That's where they are.
Sounds familiar. We may have at least driven through it.
Yeah. From what I understand, if you went like that, you blink, you missed it.
Yeah.
So it's much kind of like Jewett City in a way.
Yeah.
I think Cedar City's a little bigger, than Jewett City. Where now you're doing the Major League Baseball tour, right?
Yep.
So you went to Fenway. How many parks have you been to now?
I believe 18 is what we're at. We're only counting them if our kids go. So Courtney and I have been to a couple more than they have, but we're not counting those. Actually, they may have caught up to us now because I'm trying to think. Nope, they didn't because we've been to Yankee Stadium and they have not. So, and I'm not like I said earlier, I'm not in a rush to go to Yankee Stadium.
Yeah. I have yet to go to the new Yankee Stadium.
But anyways, we got a chance to go to the Diamondbacks playoff game last year. It was that I don't know if you remember in the news, it made national news how cheap tickets were, and we happened to be an hour and a half from the stadium. And when I see it come up, tickets were as low as $12 for National League NLCS game 2 or 3.
They can't get people in the stadium.
Well, I think it got flexed to like 1 o'clock in the afternoon on a Wednesday or 4 o'clock in the afternoon on a Wednesday, and they just couldn't. People couldn't get it off work.
We stream all the games from the home games for the Norwich Sea Unicorns now, right? There's no more major league affiliation because, of course, Major League Baseball dropped a lot of teams. Because like what would they say, like from like single A short season, like less than 1% of those kids actually make it to even double A. So they, in a cost cutting measure after COVID, they just got rid of it. So now they have the Futures League, which is college baseball, it's good baseball. It's fun. And Dodge Stadium makes a lot of fun. Cheap plug. There we go. But that right there, and I have no idea where the hell I was going with this.
I don't know.
Boy, I am like on a different flight this morning than you guys. I don't know why.
Senior moment.
we haven't made it to a Sea Unicorns game.
Oh, I know what I was going to say. Opening night, they had over 3,000 people.
That's good for them.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that you figured they had more than probably the A's.
Yeah.
That
No,
night.
you're probably right.
They have like 50.
Yeah, we went to an A's game last summer.
Where you went? You got tickets? Do you got tickets? Yeah.
And it's funny because my expectation was to walk up to the box office and just buy tickets there and get the get the cheapest they had. And we walked out of there spending like $30 a ticket. Like,
where was this?
The A's.
Okay.
Like they were expensive when we went.
Maybe that's why nobody's
I was surprised. I was like, wow.
Oakland isn't exactly hubbub
There's nothing
city
around that stadium either. I have no I don't agree with the way the owner moved them out, but I think it was necessary.
Aren't they going to Vegas now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
They'll do well there.
Yeah, I mean the owner was kind of shisty with it though. I don't know, not to go into too many detail.
Are they going to be the Las Vegas slot machines? Is that
well, he traded away all his players and then said nobody's coming. And I got to move it. So it's like, well, you trade away.
Chance said we launched from Southern Illinois, but moved our home base to the Houston area. My wife is a traveling nurse, so we travel contract to contract. Which
that's very popular.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then there's Michelle Wheeler.
Yep.
Says we plan to do RV life. When we retire, we'll be relying on Brian and Courtney as consultants.
Yep.
So it's I just find this so very. It's really cool because ever since I've had you on here and I've really started listening to what you do. I've been thinking, how can I fit this into my life?
You can. Anybody can do it, and you can do it part time. You don't have to do it full time.
But Melissa won't do it.
Oh.
She'll do it for a while, but she likes to be planted in a house. I don't know if it's a security thing or what, and that's okay. I mean, that's just now her mother and her husband, they do it.
Yeah,
they go all over the place. They're both retired. I think I've mentioned you to them before on a few different occasions. I don't know, if they've reached out to you.
No,
Deb and Bob, no. But they usually do the East Coast loop, or why am I saying loop? East Coast down to Florida, like over to Texas where they have family, and then they usually come back. But this last time they went further west.
Okay.
And they went into Utah, and they were all over the place. So
going out west, I mean, once you get out of New England, but west is so much easier to do this.
Yeah.
It's the gas stations are more set up for big RVs. It's just a whole different planet out there, really.
I bet. Yeah.
It's a lot easier. Flat. You don't have to worry. I mean, obviously some states have mountain passes. Utah, Colorado do. But yeah, it's just a lot of people that travel are stressed about coming up to New England. It's like a thing that people want to conquer. Yeah.
So with I always go back to this with you. It's like that whole human need thing. It's like now that you are parked right now at a residential home, just while you're here for a little bit, you say, go spend the night with grandma and grandpa or something, do you?
It's funny you bring that up. So Tegan and Barrett are actually spending a month at my parents in Seattle. They leave tomorrow.
Really?
What?
Yeah. So my mom's here.
Culpins everywhere.
Yeah. So my mom is here with my sister, and she came to visit my grandma, who still lives in Connecticut, and then she's going to take them back with them tomorrow.
Cool.
And then in about 3 weeks, I'm flying out with Lincoln and Remington, and I'll spend a week there and then fly all 4 of them back. So
wow. And where's Courtney? She's going to be hanging out with my ties.
Yeah, right.
With her
She's
parents.
going to be kid free for
good for her
a week. Yeah, she deserves it.
Well, I was saying that's going to. I mean, as much as you love your children, we all do. Being in 330 square feet, 365 days a year, that's got to drive you nuts, or do you get there and go outside and play?
Yeah, there's a lot of that. Honestly, it's tough to keep them in sometimes because they have friends there. You know, it's we're our neighbors are always our friends.
Sure.
So I'd say the harder days are when it's raining and they can't go outside. Or if we happen to be by ourselves for an extended period of time, then those get to be challenging too. But they know that around the corner they'll be with friends again. So
has Tegan started to get interested in girls?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay.
No.
All right.
At least not that he's made us.
Yeah.
No.
Well, he's 12.
Yeah.
It's gonna start.
Yeah.
Dad.
He's going to have a girl in every port. I'm only 13.
He'll be walking around, flip the collar up. What's up?
Hey, Dad, can we go back to Mexico?
Paul! he's a young boy. God, I'm surprised you didn't clock on me. Talk about my kid like that. I've said this to you before. I'm thinking he's going to say at some point, Dad, I need my own room.
Yeah.
I need my own space. If that happens, do you think, or maybe this has had to be a thought at some point, that Tegan says, I want to stay with Grandma and Grandpa or like that? Or because I know with me and most young boys, start liking girls.
Yeah.
So that's what I've always been curious about that. And I know it's not fun to think about.
Right.
But
Yeah. So we always have conversations with the kids.
Sure.
We make sure that we're still all in on this and making sure that they're still happy, obviously.
Yeah, sure.
So if that ever happened, we'd have to have a conversation. I don't think the option would be for them to move out from our household, but maybe stay stationary or somewhere longer. I would say the kids, as far as being around people that they want to be around, I almost feel like they get more interaction than they would if they were in a.
You said that before.
Yeah. I think 24/7. Obviously not 24/7, but they're always next to. It's not about getting in a car and driving to a friend's house. You literally just walk out and you're with them, right? Yeah. And so to have that option, and then part of the full-time families community that we're in, we go to events all the time, and it's often a lot of the same families that will be at them. So and they're if we wanted to follow those events, we could go to an event almost every month. Yeah.
And I would think that socially, really, for a kid, this is probably much more. It has to be much more diverse.
Oh, way more diverse
than if you were living in a stationary home.
Absolutely, and they've learned social skills that I don't think they would have learned because they know that when we go to a new campground and there's kids on the playground, they gotta learn their names and break the ice as quick as possible.
Yep.
We always tell them if they're at all timid, just go because you're going to regret it when you finally do make that choice to introduce yourself and start playing with them. That's when the fun starts, and you don't want that to be on the day we're leaving. So,
yeah, I mean, you could meet your new best friend,
right? Exactly. I mean, you never know.
Exactly. Do they? And I go back to Tegan just because he's the oldest. Do they have do they swap email addresses with kids? And
so they use
communicate.
Tegan's on all the platforms, Discord, and. But Facebook Messenger Kids is a very popular one. And you don't need to have Facebook. The kid doesn't need to have a Facebook account to use it. Right, and it's fully, as a parent, I can control who they talk to. So that's usually how they exchange. They say, hey, can you have your mom ask you to be my friend on Facebook Kids?
Right.
And
Plus,
that's easy.
Plus, moving to a boat now, it's going to give you a lot more room.
Yeah. For sure.
So it's going to take care of that issue to combine with the older kids wanting their own room. With a boat, you have double decks?
Yeah.
Multiple suites, bedrooms on those things.
How far down the road is that actually?
We're hoping end of 2025, but it might be
far.
No. Might be 2026, but we'll see. That's our plan. But we still have a lot to learn, to be honest. There's a lot, just like RVing. There's a lot to get into it, and
Plus, it's a whole different group now.
Yeah, we're our at least for the first year initial plan is to stay somewhat close to shore, so we could always come in. Courtney's not really on board yet with doing the whole big ocean crossings, and I don't.
That'd be
blame her,
kind of
but-
dangerous, because, especially with pirates and things like that.
Arr.
I mean,
Yeah.
they're pirates. I mean,
Depending
let's
on where
face
you
it.
are, for
Depending
sure.
on, like, if you're in Somalia, well, sure.
No,
but,
I'm talking
I
like
mean,
Cuba down that way. You
Yeah,
don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you never know. But based on the YouTubers that we watch, a lot of them travel with other boater families too. So
It's a whole
gonna be-
group of its own.
Yeah. But yeah, going back to the space on the boat, we were watching a boat tour the other day, and this one, all the boats we're looking at have 3 or 4 bedrooms, and this one had a bedroom that had just I want to say like a cot size twin bed. Like it looked small for a twin bed, and but it had a desk, it had a computer desk.
Oh wow!
And Tegan jumped all over it. He's like, if we get this boat, that's my room. I'm like, you want the smallest bed so you can have a computer desk. That's crazy.
now you're going to have internet because you have what?
So we have Starlink.
Starlink,
and
yeah.
T-Mobile. Yep.
How does that work well? Or
Starlink's awesome. The upload speed's a little slow compared to the download speed, but honestly, Starlink opened up places that we could go. Baja, for example, we never would have been able to go to Baja, at least not for as long as we did without Starlink. There's places without cell service, let alone Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
But it's great. Obviously, you need clear skies, so not really a New England thing. But from what I understand, the newer one, we have, I guess, last generation model. The current generation, I guess, almost goes straight up, so you have better options for trees and stuff. But it's great. And on a boat, it'll be a little bit more expensive.
Oh, yeah, I would think so. Yeah.
They upcharge.
why would it be different? I mean, why would they know?
That's what Courtney says. She's like, how? Why? What's the difference? But they have a maritime plan.
Elon's like, I know where you are.
Oh yeah, it has a GPS tracker in it. They know exactly where the thing is. So, I was in a Facebook group in this boater.
Stay close to the coast.
Yeah, it is. It's a certain amount of mileage off the coast. That's when they obviously assume you're on a boat, and they say, hey, you need to have this different plan, and even different equipment, I believe.
How much is it again? For it's like $80
For
a
us,
month?
it's $150 a month.
Okay. All right.
The equipment is pricey. It's $600.
Yeah.
And I'm not an Elon fan, and that was for me.
It was a hard pill to swallow.
Well, we bought it was $80 a month.
Oh, I remember that. I remember you telling me. That's why I just said 80. I'm like,
yeah. So it was $80 a month. We invested $600, and then not even 2 months later, he jacked the price up to $110, and I was mad about that, right? And then a month or two after that, it went up to $150.
it's got a captured customer.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
I'm
What
like,
are you going to do?
I invested. You can't.
Yeah, okay.
You already bought in.
Let's move on from that.
What does he care?
He doesn't. He's got what they call a captured customer.
Yep.
It's kind of like going to a restaurant, and getting coffee. How much is the coffee? $3.50. Well, we can fill it as many times as you want.
Yep.
That's where they make their money. Sodas, juices, and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm hoping Amazon's supposed to be coming out with a competition for Starlink, and
Really?
I'm not a big Amazon fan either, but any competition would help for sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah,
So
how do you get your Amazon deliveries?
Oh, yeah. That's a challenge. We
I imagine.
Courtney's going crazy right now, being in Moosup. I don't know what it is about Moosup, but we get almost same day deliveries from Amazon too. There must be a distribution center.
well, they're building one in Plainfield.
Okay.
It's not open yet, but there's one in Connecticut now.
Okay.
It's out of Hartford, Windsor.
Windsor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we're getting spoiled with the speed of deliveries and the amount of deliveries we can do. But yeah, usually we wait till we're in a location that has lockers, counters. We try the whole general delivery. If you didn't know, you could ship packages to a post office, and but a lot of them, it's like
It's called SurePost or something like that, or
no, no, it's general delivery.
okay.
But throughout the country, we've experienced some post offices, they get really mad when you do it. It's like it'll be right on their website that it's a service they offer, but if you use that service, it's the end of the day. Like they blow up. And,
Well, they have to deal with it. It's a
yeah,
service they offer.
It's crazy. And then we were just in Pennsylvania, sent a package, and they tried to tell us that we were supposed to like do all this registration in South Dakota, like give them all our information, and then register at this post, like it was a whole ordeal that he lectured us on. And
Wow.
so the post office thing is kind of, I'm done with it. I'm not doing it anymore. But
So here's a question that popped up into my head when you were talking about you guys moving to a boat and
Sure.
going into that community. So right now, like Courtney has her job, that she does that you're able to do, mobile and everything. Yours not so much.
yeah.
So now I'm thinking you'd have to transition into something, or else you're going to
Yeah.
lose that income.
Maybe. I mean, that's so far down the road. We haven't really considered that aspect of it, but I can do a lot of what I do is remote. I'm not at every event. I'm on the back end
Right.
organizing, so I can do it to an extent. Obviously, I just most likely, unless it's on the East Coast, I probably wouldn't be able to do a like host one myself. So that's a big aspect of the job. So we'd have to look into that. But
Gotcha. I was just kind of curious. Did you have a follow up?
No,
All
no.
right. So the last question I have for you today. You and I both worked for corporate America. I'm going to assume that your income is less now,
oh yeah.
as is mine. Are you happier?
Oh, it's night and day. I'll
Yeah.
tell you that. I can't even imagine going back to corporate America. It's just,
No, I know.
the amount of time I get to spend with the kids, my wife. I actually see my wife.
Yeah.
Before we had opposite schedules. We'd see each other for an hour or two at night, and then rinse and repeat. The happiness level.
This may have saved everything.
Yeah, for sure. It's crazy to think about that's how we used to live. And yeah, the income's lower, but we did a good job of lowering our
adjust.
debts and adjusting and it's one of those things I can never go back ever. Never
You know
will.
what? I've mentioned this to Paul. I've told him, and same thing. It's the income's lower, but we both worked for Verizon, and there's no way I would ever go back to any of that.
I think,
And I'm so much happier, and it's really not about the money.
no.
And everybody that is like money. It's not about it. And I had to learn that, the hard way. You just said we all had to make choices, right?
Yep.
About what we were going to do. And you went the way you did, and I had a nervous breakdown. But I ended up saying screw it, and here we are.
Yeah.
But I'll never go back.
Yeah. I mean,
Ever.
the stressful days. I mean, really, the only thing that we ever stress about is when a surprise expense comes up, right? Nobody wants to do that,
No.
But to have that day-to-day stressor of Verizon, for example, I mean, any job like that is just.
Sure.
I'm glad we don't have to carry that weight anymore. It's
I hear you, and I'm completely on board. I would love to do the whole, because I could do this, and my clients, have become my friends that we deal with. I could, text most of them,
right.
And could do it on the road. Melissa's like, no, she likes to stay anchored, and I understand. I respect that.
You got to start part time, ease her
Yeah.
into it, and then when she realizes how much further you can go when you're full time, then.
Yeah. And then on cruises, she's got to have a balcony room. I want to, guys, let's get an interior cabin. It's like 3 times less. No, I got to have my balcony.
Is that something we've never done as a cruise? Never.
They're fun.
I've never been on one.
You'll be on a permanent one in a few years.
Yeah. True.
They're a lot of fun. It just it depends. There's so many different cruise lines depending on what you want. So
Yeah, we did this thing where we had too many kids for one room on a cruise now, so now we have to do 2 rooms, and I've heard there's a
here's my
loophole.
suggestion, and this has got nothing to do with your four boys. Go on a 3-day or a 4-day, just you and Courtney.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
And seal it out and see, is this even going to be right for the kids? So I got my youngest daughter is like kind of like gets nervous, and so I don't know if it would be right for her.
sure.
My oldest daughter, let's go. You know what I mean?
And that's kind of
My son's wife won't go because of various reasons, whatever her reasons are.
I can imagine if you're like claustrophobic or
I'm claustrophobic like you wouldn't believe, but I love it.
yeah. I mean, those boats are basically moving cities, right? So they got everything. But
there's more people on the boat that I was on than the borough of Jewett City.
It's crazy. It's
Well,
crazy.
a lot of people use them as a retirement home.
A lot of people
I've
live
heard
on
of I've heard of people that cruise hop.
Yeah, they use them as retirement. It's a lot cheaper to stay on a cruise boat than it is to go into a retirement complex.
Yeah.
And just stay there all year round.
Yeah,
they do. I noticed
Yeah.
that too.
that's what that. I mean, that's a whole different
That's a whole different
lifestyle. That's
Yeah.
talk about spoiled. Jeez,
I could do it. I could do it. Where are we going? Bahamas. What are you doing today? I don't know. Swim.
food's all
Anyway.
included, right? You don't have to.
Yeah.
You just
Yeah.
walk into a restaurant.
That's it.
Man. Now I'm thinking. No, just
You could have your own cruise ship. All right, Brian. Thank you very much for coming on in.
no problem.
You probably got to get on the road somewhere.
Yeah.
But I'm glad you're here. I'm glad I got a chance to see you. It's been a long time,
Yes.
So it's been at least 6 years since I've seen you face to face. I would think 7
I'd
years.
say almost 10.
Shit, has it really been that long?
When'd you leave Verizon?
I've been doing this. It's almost 9.
Yeah, I think it's been almost 10.
Oh my god!
Wow.
Because I was thinking, because I went to North Haven in 2014, 2015. So yeah, it's been a while.
Wow.
We stayed in touch though. I mean,
Yeah, I know.
You know.
I know. I don't think I've really stayed in touch with anybody else. But you.
no, I think going back to not having that weight on our shoulders, I'm pretty sure there's quite a few people that we used to work with that are still there. So
I think so too. Anyway, I'm gonna end the show and I'll tell you what I think. So, anyway, thank you.
Yeah.
All right, we'll be back again tomorrow, right here on SNSN. Thank you, Brian. If you guys missed any part of this program, you can always go ahead and scroll back. It'll be, of course, posted on our various groups, and you can watch it. And it's pretty informational, especially if anybody or you have decided to think that, oh, you know what, maybe RVing, going coast to coast and living that lifestyle could, or maybe not for me, or could be. So check it out. All right, we'll see you tomorrow right here.